Hello, everybody. Welcome to the TriStar Gym channel. Today's episode, we are recapping UFC. What was it? 294. Volkanovski, Makhachev 2, and of course Chimaev versus Usman. I just want to double check. Was it UFC? Yeah, 294. That's correct. Guys, what can I say? It was an incredible co-main and main event. I absolutely enjoyed it. I was on the edge of my seat for both those fights. What can I say? Chimaev, in my opinion, won round one at 10-8. Round two, guys, I'm going to be generous here. I'm going to give it to Usman, even though I thought it was very close. And watching it live, I gave it to Chimaev, but there was so much controversy. Let me appease you guys. Let me give Usman round two. I don't give Usman round three. Round three, I give it to Chimaev. He had him on his back. He had Usman on his back for about 2 minutes plus. The striking exchange, I favored Usman, but not by so much that I'm going to give him the value of 2 minutes of top control, a takedown, top control. Maybe it wasn't the worst ground and pound, but there was a lot of positional control, positional dominance. We did a poll that night. A lot of people were saying it's not. No, Chimaev didn't win. Guys, Chimaev, in my opinion, he won the first round 10-8. That's 2 points. He's ahead 2 points. Usman would have to squeak out the last 2 rounds just to make it a draw. And I know one judge, from what I understand, gave them a draw. I'm going to put a little poll here. I'm going to re-poll you guys. I polled you guys on Fight Night. And I would say 81% of you thought Chimaev won. I'm going to poll you guys because I'm getting emails. I'm getting messages. No, Chimaev didn't win. All right. Maybe Chimaev didn't win. Let's see what you guys have to say today in the chat room. Hamzat. Okay. All right, guys. I just started a poll. Give it to me. Let me know. Who won? Khamzat Chimaev or Usman? Guys, round one was a 10-8. How could you see it any other way? He had his back literally within 1 minute, and he maintained the back the entire round. Maybe he got off his back to gut wrench a little bit, then went right back on his back. It was almost a total of 4 minutes of back control with multiple submission attempts. Not the deepest subs I've ever seen, no, but there were still submission attempts. In my opinion, that's a clear 10-8. Second round was close. I had Usman kind of winning, and then Chimaev stealing the round at the end. I'm not a big believer in, you just because you got to take down, you won the whole round. I hear you on that. I'm going to flip my second round. I'm going to give it to Usman. Let me be super generous. You're right. You shouldn't be able to just take a takedown and win the whole round, But in my opinion, the striking was still pretty heated. I know Chimaev broke his hand. Everybody's saying he broke his hand. Yes, I understand he broke his hand, but it's still pretty heated. Round three, guys, I felt striking is important. Damage is important. It's the most important, but still, it wasn't that much damage. The control was superior. Guys, I'm doing only questions on this one fight right now. We're going to move to Volkanovski and Makhachev after this. Please do not ask me any questions outside of this fight. I'm opening it up right now. I picked Wolf. I couldn't believe the way it ended. Well, what's so hard to believe? I mean, he won pretty dominantly. It was a draw. That's from Alim Haq. Well, let me go to the poll here. Let's see here. We have 63 votes and 81% say Khamzat. Opinion on Chimaev's cardio. That's from Ali. Ali, I'll tell you, it's suspect. I really think he's going to have a hard time with 5 rounds in his career when he starts doing title fights, and those are around the corner. That might be his next fight. If he fights Strickland, that's going to be a hard round 4. It's going to be a hard round 5, let me tell you. I think he's very genetically gifted in terms of explosiveness, but not so much in terms of endurance. Round 1, 10-8. Round 2 and 3, Usman. Alim Haq has Usman for round 2 and round 3. And so that will make the fight a draw. I'll make in Alim Haq's. Look, I would tell you it wouldn't be the end of the world if you guys told me it was like if they called it a draw that night. I wouldn't freak out. Okay, I would not freak out. But Usman winning, out of the question. I mean, I still, guys, I'm telling you, I think Chimaev won, and 82% of the poll so far is telling me Chimaev won. What do you think about Usman failing to escape the sub? That's from Mick Liu. He escaped the sub. If he didn't escape the sub, he would have got tapped out. So he escaped the subs successfully. He was not submitted. There was only submission attempts in round one, several, maybe 2, 3, I would say, rear naked chokes, and he escaped them all. I think we need 2 more rounds. That's from M. Listen, if I was Usman, I heard he turned down a 5-rounder. I wouldn't have. That's crazy. He should have went for the 5-rounder. I know it was a short notice fight, but if I was fighting Chimaev, I would insist on 5 rounds. Salam, brother. Beautiful haircut, coach. That's from Somali Pirate. Thank you, sir. You're a gentleman and a scholar. Aloha from Hawaii. That's from Michaela. Hello. Aloha back to you. Can't wait to visit Hawaii one day. I have not visited Hawaii yet. Is it his fighting style or just by cardio? That's from Damien Cota. Look, he seems super fast twitch to me. Fast twitch muscles. It's genetic. You can convert some fast twitch to slow twitch and some slow twitch to fast, but it's very small potential there. Very small potential. When you're gifted with that much fast twitch muscle, you get a Khamzat Chimaev. More explosive, quicker, hard hitting, shoots doubles, gets in the legs, able to get the lift, but fast twitch muscle fibers carry less oxygen. So generally speaking, they will have less conditioning. He has less potential for cardiovascular, for endurance. He has less potential. So he has to work a lot harder just to have good regular cardio at that level of fighting, okay? Coach, working overtime. That's from Anthony, my boy. Yes, sir. Working overtime, my friend. Working overtime. I'm headed to Morocco tomorrow, guys. I'm teaching tomorrow during the day, and then at night I fly out to Morocco. Looking forward to hang out with my Moroccan buddies. Looking forward to seeing you all there. Billy Badass says, what's up for us? Thank you, sir. What's up, my friends? Coach, what do you think about Okay, well, I didn't see the press conference. His mental state not in camp. What do you suggest for him? What do you think about folks' press? I'm not aware. I didn't listen to his press conference. Thank you, Nasdaq. Very sweet of you. Very nice to hear that you visited us in 2016. It was a great pleasure. Guys, we're talking about Chimaev versus Usman. I guess the controversy ain't that controversial because we got 81% out of 161 people right now. 81% are saying the Khamzat won. Guys, I love Usman. I'm not trying to be prejudiced. I'm not trying to be biased here. I love the guy. Actually, I know him really, really well. Like, not really, really well, but I've gotten to train with him, like for me, like, when I train with somebody, usually I always pick them. This is one of the few times I didn't pick I didn't pick him. Okay. Because I just felt it was not going to happen, and I just felt that Chimaev is bigger naturally. And if this fight was at 170 in 5 rounds, I would pick Usman. No doubt. I would come on here and I tell you guys, Usman's going to put it on him. However, at 185, no. There is no draw option in the poll. That's from Good point. Very good point. How do I make such a mistake? You're right. I should have put an option for draw. My apologies. Next time I will put a draw. Definitely. Okay. Coach, early breakdown predicting Strickland versus Khamzat. I'm gonna have to go through their footage, but I'm not liking Khamzat's chance, to be honest with you. The more I'm thinking about it, the more I think that it's gonna be tough, man. Because the thing is, look, when he had the back, he didn't seem to know how to sub. Okay, like, don't get me wrong, it's not easy to sub on the back. It's not that easy. It's difficult. I feel like he has a very good darce. I feel like he has like certain chokes that, because of his long arms and his incredible strength, he's gonna pull it off. However, I feel that Strickland's gonna prepare for those so that when they do scramble on the mat, he's gonna either, even if he gives up his back, he's gonna survive the round, and he's gonna push the pace. He's gonna know he has to push the pace, and eventually, I think he puts it on him. Justice for Khamzat. Absolutely disappointed, coach, in people, including the judges who scored draw. To the doubters, my boy Khamzat took Kamaru down. Kamaru is high-level wrestler and still couldn't defend. Levels smash everybody. That's from Shiz. Shiz, my boy. Shiz started to take over this podcast. Thank you, Shiz. You're a gentleman and a scholar. And I'll tell you, Shiz, you were right. You told us the wolf would win, and the wolf won. All right, guys. Now I'm going to close this poll. Well, actually, I don't need to close this poll. I'm going to redo the poll, including the draw option. All right, guys. What can I say? I'm going to do it. I'm going to end this poll. I'm going to do it right. We got to do things right. Start poll. Okay, who won? Who won? Who won? Who knows? Maybe most people think it was a draw. Maybe I'm completely crazy. Usman. Khamzat. Khamzat. Add option. Boom. Draw. Look how easy they make button pushing. I love it. I love when button pushing is easy. All right, here we go. The new poll. Now with the draw option, gentlemen. Go ahead. Go wild. Go crazy. Okay, guys, I'm going to move to the Volk fight. What can I say about the Volk fight? First of all, I want to praise Volk and Usman both stepping up on short notice, giving us the main event we've wanted to see. Should he have taken this fight on short notice? Obviously, now hindsight, I would say no. You know, sometimes it's good to take a fight on short notice because you don't have time to worry about things. You just kind of go. I've seen guys do it, and we've done it, many times. And sometimes you have this great result, and it's like, you know what? I got everything. I got to win without all the stress and nerves. But sometimes the car, I want to say something, okay? Volkanovski has been susceptible to head kicks, and it's been a long time. He's been kicked in the head many times in his career, including a famous kick by Max Holloway. He got kicked again. It's a bad habit he has. He kind of plays on the back foot, and he's kind of leaning on, and that kick is there, man. He's fighting a southpaw. Very similar to what happened between Gaethje and Poirier. Very similar. Okay, not exactly the same kick. Poirier got hit more in the back of the head. Volk on top of the head. Okay, but both really dangerous kicks. You're leading into a kick. Guys, Volk is open for head kicks. If I was prepping a fight against Volk, guess what I would be training for? I'd be training for head kicks. Why? Because we've seen him get hit in the head with a head kick. Now, when he got hit with Max Holloway, the way I'm remembering now, I haven't watched the fight in a while. If I remember correctly, it was the foot. Makhachev hit him with the lower shin. Totally different universe. Totally different. The foot and the shin can both knock you out. But I'll tell you something. The shin is way worse. The foot flexes. The ankle flexes. There's a give. The shin is highly unforgiving. Even more unforgiving is the upper shin. Even more unforgiving is the upper shin will put any man out. Now, the foot is dangerous. Lower shin is more dangerous. The upper shin, guys, very, very dangerous. Okay? So he's susceptible to head kicks. Now, the fight started out with Volk looking really good. Islam shoots from very far out, by the way. Shoots from very far away. Gets underhooked. Pinned to the fence by Volk. We were watching it live. I was doing it with you guys. I don't know if you guys, not all of you might have tuned in, but I did a watch party. We were watching it together, and I was telling you guys he was looking good. He's got Makhachev against the fence. He's throwing some shots here. They turned around a couple of times, but mostly Volk was initiating the striking in the clinch. Then Volkanovski initiated the break of the clinch. He broke away. He was pinning Makhachev, and he was punching Makhachev with some shots, and nothing major, guys. A few trip attempts, but nothing there with the trip attempts. He initiates the breaking of the clinch. He initiates the break. When they break, Makhachev set up a beautiful head kick. Low kick, paw, low kick, boom, head kick. Volk was on his way down. Makhachev throws a hook. I think it grazed him. I think it touched him. But just like, it wasn't, nothing said, it was just kind of shaved his beard, nothing on it. Like he was falling, so he was out of range. A good stoppage, hammer fist. Volk was not there, guys. Volk was not there. I'm very grateful that they stopped the fight. And what could I tell you? Islam Makhachev is the greatest lightweight today, and also the best pound for pound fighter alive today, or competing today. Pardon me, guys. And I will tell you guys that I don't think anybody can beat him at lightweight. I don't think Gaethje has a chance. I don't think Poirier has a chance. I don't think Oliveira has a chance. I don't think Benil has a chance. Like, who can even challenge him right now? I think Volk needs some time off. I think he needs to go fight Taporia, not 145. Who else is there? And he's a new champion. And this is his second title defense. He's had 3 title fights, 2 defenses, one of them controversial. Now, like he showed after the fight. That's all I have to say. All right, guys, let's look at this poll now. Holy moly. You see, you got to do things right. You got to do things right. Who was it that told me redo it? Whoever that person was, you're a gentleman and a scholar. I was wrong. I was wrong not to put draw. 23%. Wow. Think it was a draw. Wow. Okay, what can I say? I'm going to rewatch the fight now just because of that. Guys, I watched the fight on Fight Pass. I paid for a Fight Pass. Then they cut my feed. I paid for it again. They cut my feed. I paid for it 3 times. Then I checked my credit card. Let me check my credit card again. They didn't charge me at all. I don't know if it was because I've hung out with the guys from Fight Pass in England. We're talking about Fight Pass. Maybe they added my name. Maybe they're not charging me. Maybe they give me like a free account. I'm not even sure. Let me see. Because I saw that my credit card is not even charged. Yep. No, they did not charge me, guys. A lot of people are like freaking out. I thought I was going to write them an email after. I didn't get any email saying, hey, you purchased. So I thought that was weird. I went to check my credit card. No purchase. No purchase at all. So maybe it was a glitch. Maybe they hooked me up and I don't even know it. Maybe Paddy has a chance. That's from John James. Not now. Like, Paddy needs a bunch more fights before he fights a Makhachev. Way more fights. Like, he needs like 4 or 5 wins before he gets a Makhachev fight. 21% think it was a draw. Wow. Very impressive that many people. Like, I got to tell you, now I don't think you guys are as crazy. Like, if that many people believe it, I don't think it's as crazy. Islam versus Khamzat at 70. What happens? That's from Dr. Anthony Fauci. I don't think the Wolf could ever make 170, guys. Out of the question. Out of the question. He'll never make 170. Pound for pound, Islam beats him. Pound for pound. If they were both same size, Islam beats him. Hey, just 48 likes. What's that? What's 48 likes? Is that my... Guys, make sure... 49 likes. Come on, guys. Hit that like button. Zeno is not happy with the like ratio. I gotta agree with him. Assalamu alaikum, coach. What are your thoughts on Islam versus Chakirian 2? That's from Faisal Khan. I like the fight. I would tune in. I would pay. I would love to see that fight. Don't get me wrong, but I just think Islam beats him again. Like, it's not a mega fight. Gamrat, maybe if he wins a few more, I just don't think they're at his level. I think they'll challenge him. It will be a tough fight. It will go 5 rounds, but Islam dominates. Coach, did you watch Anshul Jubli fight? If yes, what did you think about his performance? It seemed like he doesn't have the fighter mentality. Anshul Jubli fight. Let's see what that is. Anshul Jubli. I did go through the fights. I'm not sure which one was Anjul and Jubli. Oh yeah, no, he was doing good. He's a good striker. Yeah, he got caught at the end. He fought. He got caught with a right hook. Yeah. I was actually watching him. He has really good potential, man. I really hope he comes to train with me eventually. I think honestly, I would love to see him come train with me, and I really think he has great potential. A lot of work to be done, of course, but I thought he was looking good. You know, has a very nice striking. He's quick. Of course, he needs. He's rough around the edges. We need to work with him, and put the coaches with him. And yeah, the Indian guy, absolutely very talented kid. I love him. I just think he got caught, man. Everybody gets caught, guys. Volkanovski got caught. He's arguably the greatest pound for pound fighter. Okay, I don't want to say because he took a loss. He's not pound for pound. He's not up there. He's definitely up there, guys. Anybody can get caught. Anybody. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Roy Jones Jr. in your prime. I don't care if you're Muhammad Ali in his prime. You can get clipped. These are human beings out there. They're not machines. They're not robots. Okay, when they get hit on the button And believe me, everybody goes through it. Every fighter's been hitting the button. Every fighter in practice has been put on his ass. Every single fighter. Guys, make sure to check out A Man's Guide to Throwing a Punch on jujiclub.com. Use the promo code FALL50 off. It's on the bottom of your screen. Guys, it's how to develop a boxing routine. I teach you how to develop rhythm, jabbing, crossing, blocking, how to defend yourself if you get into a street fight. I keep it sweet and simple. Very, like, one simple rule. If you're getting an altercation, how to stand, what position to be in, and you're already in position to do everything I taught you in the video. I also teach you how it comes with a PDF booklet, and I teach you how to develop a boxing routine. Every man, I'm going to say this again, every man should have a boxing routine. I don't care if you're a grappling enthusiast. I don't care if you wrestle. I don't care if you do kickboxing. You should have a boxing routine, because if you don't, one day you might need it. You might need to protect one of your loved ones or yourself. And if you don't know how to throw a punch, it's kind of scary. Would you rather see Usman fight the winner of Shafkat / Wonderboy or stay at 185? That's from Looker Dog. I'd rather see him fight the winner of Wonderboy and Shafkat. I really would like to see that. I'd like to see Usman go back to 170, because look, Usman has a bully style. If he's not bigger and stronger than you, his style doesn't work as well. Like, he's technical, he's a very smart guy, but his style is still I consider it to be a bully style. He needs to physically impose himself on you. If he doesn't have that element, if he's not able to do that, his style won't work. Dreykus deserves the title shot over Khamzat. I don't agree. That's from Swish. I got to tell you, man, I don't agree. I think Khamzat, man. I think Khamzat deserves it. Look, I know Whitaker. When DDP beat Whitaker, I was surprised, guys. I came on here and I told you guys I was very, very surprised. I didn't think he gets past that fight. But still, for some reason, I want to see Khamzat. I want to see that he's so much more exciting. He's so aggressive. He's such a phenom. I'd rather see Khamzat. For us, I already assisted to your class. You're a great coach. Humble respect from France. That's from Duncan. Duncan, you're a gentleman and a scholar, man. What could I say? I appreciate that. You're going to make me blush here. Thank you. Coach, do you think Craig Jones was correct about Islam's submission skills, or was it just trolling? That's from Sub-Zero. Yeah, I think it was just trolling. I'm not sure what he said, but I'm assuming he trashed. I'm familiar with Craig Jones. I know he's kind of a controversial, funny guy online. And I think it was just trolling. Makhachev has probably one of the highest submission rates in the lightweight division today. So higher than Volkanovski, that's for sure. El Segundo needs to take a step back here and remember that Chimaev had 5 finishes in a row at one point. I think even more. About his last 5 fights before he fought Volk, I think he had like 5 finishes, 5 subs. That's incredible in MMA. Very difficult to get subs in MMA sometimes. Islam versus Khamzat at 170. What happens? That's from Fauci. I already answered that. If Sean can avoid being submitted in the first round, then will he outbox Khamzat? That's from Monsieur Francois. Yes, I think so. He'll outbox Khamzat. I think Khamzat's hand was broken, so we didn't get to see. Look, let me just tell you what I liked about Khamzat. He was much more calmer than in the Burns fight. In the Burns fight, I don't know what got into him, but he seemed like a slugger. And he wanted to get into a street fight here. With Burns, he didn't box well. With Usman, he boxed much better, considering that one of his hands was broken. That's what I heard. His hand was broken. He boxed much better. But he's still nowhere near, in my opinion, nowhere near the level of Strickland in boxing. He's going to have to take Strickland down and weaken him to even out the boxing. If he stays on Strickland and he beats the daylights out of him on the ground, if he gets his ground and pound developed, which I would love to help Chimaev develop his ground and pound. If he does those things, he could put the pain on Strickland standing up also. Because believe me, guys, if you've never been under a good wrestler with good ground and pound and good jiu-jitsu, and he's beating you for 2-3 minutes, it's really difficult to come back up to your feet after, the round ends, you get back off the stool and you got a box. Now you're thinking takedowns, you're thinking punches. It's so devastating to be underneath a really good top game player. It's devastating. and it'll directly have an effect on your striking ability. One of the most famous cases of what I'm talking about is Khabib versus McGregor. In round 3, Khabib flattens McGregor with a shot. Was it round 2 or 3? I can't remember. I think it was round 2. Round 2, he flattens McGregor. Why? McGregor spent round 1 being suffocated. And then round 2, he's worried about that takedown. He doesn't want to get that takedown. He doesn't want to get taken down again. Boom, he eats a right hand. I hope Usman Nurmagomedov jumps to UFC post Grand Prix. That's from Joel. That would be great to see him in the UFC. He just won the world title again in Bellator. I didn't see the fight, but I heard he was incredibly dominant. I haven't watched the fight yet, but I was talking to some guys about it. They were like, he was very, very dominant. Is Kamzat supposed to train with you? No, I haven't talked about training together. We've met a few times. We've said hello to each other passing by. We've crossed paths. We just say hello, and that's it. We haven't ever talked about training with one another. Coach, Islam fight Gaethje or fight the winner of Leon versus Kobe? Fight for the double welterweight title. That's from Osama. He should fight Gaethje. If I was him, look, he's got to dominate. He's got to clean out the. Look, he's had only 2 title defenses. I think it's early. I think he needs to get 5 title defenses, make his money, make sure that there's not a guy left in line, and then go up a welterweight title. And if you get it, great. But jumping weight classes too soon, I think it's regrettable. BJ Penn did it. He did it against George St. Pierre. I thought it was a big mistake. He should have went. He should have stayed in his division. He should have went through I think he would have cleaned out the division. I think at that time, BJ Penn was unbeatable at 155, but he went up right away too soon, too fast, got hurt, and he was just never the same again. Islam's got no chance against Leon. He's too big. That's from Shobil. I don't know. It's hard to say, man. You're right. He is bigger, but I wouldn't say he has no chance, man. I think he's that dominant of a fighter. Could Prime Mike Tyson beat a UFC champion? That's from Water. No, he would get taken down immediately, and he would get destroyed on the ground. Okay, so he has a puncher's chance, but that's a very small chance. Dana wants Islam to wait a year before going to welterweight. That's from Sub-Zero 19. I agree, at least 1 year. At least. Let him do 2 more fights. At minimum 2 more fights. There's Gamrot, there's Tsakurian, there's Gaethje, there's Poirier. These fights are got to happen. I just don't think any of them can beat him, but so what? They have to happen. Leon easy fight for Islam. Kobe is a harder fight. Patty cake patty. I don't know. That's a really interesting fight, Leon Edwards versus Kobe Covington. I'm not sure how I'm gonna vote on how I'm gonna call that fight, but I'm gonna have to go back to their fights, watch them, and we'll have to do a pre-fight analysis. I'm still. That's an exciting fight, guys. I'm really, really incredibly excited for that fight. Okay, guys, we are 29 minutes in, guys. I'm not gonna do an all-nighter tonight. I highly doubt I'm gonna do an all-nighter, but I do want to hear what are your questions on absolutely any fight, anything, sports, training. Let's open it up now. Ask me anything, absolutely anything. Do you like Bitcoin, Coach? Yes, I've talked about it many times, so I'm not going to get into it here, but I am a believer in cryptocurrency. I'm a long time. I bought cryptocurrency before it was cool, guys. Thanks to my oldest brother for guiding me towards cryptocurrency. I was buying it before it was cool, and I haven't stopped since. Coach, a harder matchup for Leon compared to Usman? Oh, sorry. Kobe a harder matchup. He's asking, is Kobe a harder matchup than Usman? That's tough, man. That's a tough question. I'm going to have to go over their footage. Honestly, that's a tough one, man. Is he a harder fight than Usman? I don't know. I have to go over the fight. Yeah, you stumped me, man. Swish, you stumped me. That's a good question. He brings a lot of different stuff to the table. Of course, he's a southpaw versus southpaw. I'm gonna have to watch some tape. I'm gonna have to see how Leon Edwards reacts against southpaws, because it's very different. They're not an open stance here. Will you train Bilal Muhammad? Of course, I've trained Bilal Muhammad in the past, and of course, he would be always more than welcome to come train with me. It will be an absolute pleasure to work with him. What would you focus on for an intro to sparring? That's from K. Japo. K. Check out a Man's Guide to Throwing a Punch. I talk about how to spar. Okay, you have to start with touch sparring. I go over the rules of touch sparring. I teach you how to work the bag. I teach you how to defend yourself as somebody if you're in an altercation, how to stand, how to make sure you don't get hit with a sucker punch, how to roll your shoulders, the basic blocks where they can't hit your center line. I go through all these things. These are all things you can work on. I talk about how to warm up, how to do your technique portion of the training, and then how to do your fitness at the end. It comes with a manual. It comes with a PDF, a digital PDF. And I give you a bunch of sample workouts. Get that video. And in that video, I also teach you. It's a complete video. I teach you how to touch spar. Now, I also talk about in the book, once you've done a lot of touch sparring, it's time to go visit if you want to take it to the next level, go visit a boxing gym. Go visit an MMA gym. Come to MMA sparring where they box, That's the time. Take it to the next level. Or, of course, a boxing gym. Coach, I have a chronic left shoulder rhomboid and neck pain. I was shoulder pressing and my shoulder buckled and cracked. I have pain in the overhead position and I feel like it needs to crack. Any tips? That's from AE. AE. I'm a big believer in an exercise called Turkish get up. The Turkish get up, you kind of start up flat on your back like this, and the bar ends up with you over your head. Okay, I show the progressions in strong and stable shoulders. The reason why is people hurt their shoulder often when they lift their hand over their head. Two times people really hurt their shoulder. There's a lot of instances, okay, but one when they throw, and one when they press over their head, just like you said. Okay, people lose the mobility. Because why? Because think about 99% of the actions you're doing when you're doing the dishes or you're making food. You're never moving your hand above your shoulder. Ask yourself, how many times a day do you move your hand above your shoulder? Very rare. Okay, you might reach for something up on a cupboard or something, but never under load. You're never under load when you lift your arm under your shoulder. So I learned from a long time, maybe 20 years ago, I learned the Turkish get up from a kinesiologist named Jay Kiss, and he told me this will keep your shoulders healthy for life. And he was right. I always had really, really good shoulders. Now, I've had shoulder injuries, but I'm a big believer in Turkish get up. Look up Turkish get up. It actually used to be an Olympic event. You have to develop your range of motion. And in the video, I talk about how I like to use a sledgehammer. Now, sledgehammers, because the thing is, your shoulder is the most mobile joint in the entire body. But 99% of shoulder activity, day-to-day activity, is below the shoulder. Your hands are below the shoulder when you carry a box. You rarely ever press. So you took your shoulders in a position they're not used to. You put a load that was too heavy. You were probably misaligned, and you popped your shoulder. You overstrained your shoulder, or you were misaligned. Now you got to rehabilitate that shoulder. I like to use the sledgehammer. It's $20. You go to the warehouse, you buy a sledgehammer. I show you how to use it. Just basically, you move it around different ways. Why? The sledgehammer, it's similar to a mace, but instead of spending $250 and buying a mace is just a fancy piece of equipment. It's like a baseball bat with a giant metal ball at the end. Just go buy a sledgehammer. We all use a sledgehammer. Most hardcore gyms, they just put a sledgehammer in the gym. And I do a lot of exercises with that. It loosens up my shoulder. I can do internal, external rotation, among other things, where you can rehab your shoulder. But think about it. I really like Turkish get up. Why? One reason, people always hurt their shoulder when their arm is in this position. Maybe they're getting put in Americana. Maybe they're like rolling and they put themselves upside down and they're not used to taking stress over with their hand above their shoulder. The shoulder pops. The two biggest ways you can injure your shoulder is when your hand is when you're pressing over your head, and when you're throwing something. People throw out their shoulder quite a bit. Coach, I have a chronic. Oh, I did that one. Oh, you sent me the same question twice. Okay, guys, I'm gonna do a couple of non-super chats as well. First, thoughts on UFC cutting ties with USADA. That's some hash slinging slasher. What can I say? I'm not a fan of that. I really think they should work together. From my understanding, I'm not even sure why this parted ways, but from what I understand is that they couldn't get Conor McGregor to do his tests. Which that's a whole other story. That's what I'm understanding. And they said, we're losing our integrity. Boom, we're breaking ties after the new year. That's what I understood. I just saw a headline, and I don't even remember the headline, but there could be a lot more to it, obviously. If that's the case, man, what can I say? I'm speechless, man. I'm speechless. That's ridiculous. One guy's going to ruin it for everybody. We need drug testing, guys. It's out of control, man. It's out of control. The drugs are out of control. Am I the last natural guy left? Am I the last of the Mohicans? Am I the last one left? Am I the last natural human being? I love how Liver King was crying. He's back on the sauce now. He's like, I can't do it. It's too hard. Training natty is too hard. Guys, all he has to do is lift weights. He doesn't have to box or wrestle or grapple or do clinch or do conditioning. He doesn't have to do this mixed martial arts. It's really tough, man. You want a tough job? Mixed martial arts is a tough business. We're hitting each other. That's tough business, man. You better be in sick shape, man. You better be fit, strong, and stable. Your joints better be tippy top, cream of the crop, okay? All this guy has to do is have a low body fat, drag around his sled, carry some kettlebells, say hoo-yah every few minutes, eat testicles, liver, and that's it. That's his job. Tell people about sunshine and cold and whatever kind of nine ancestral. They weren't bad. I've read them here on the channel once. Like, they're common sense. I don't think they're revolutionary. Instead, if you add the 10th ancestral tenet, which is like inject yourself with a wild amount of chemicals, he said he can't do it. He can't do it. And he doesn't even have to wrestle. He doesn't even have to box. He doesn't have to hand-to-hand, man-to-man combat. That he couldn't handle. That's what a mental midget he is. I know he's a short guy. I'm not attacking his height, okay? I don't care about his height. I care about his mind. He is a mental midget. Hoo-yah! Oh, look at me! Oh, look at me! Hoo-yah! Look, if you do the... You can't even live up to your own philosophy. What a cowardly man. What a cowardly man. Oh, look at me. You could be just like me. Oh, I'm here to help you. You ain't helping nobody. You're just filling up your pockets on people's naivete. I can't believe people buy into this stuff. I remember when he got busted, of course, we had a podcast. We talked about it in the chat. Everybody's like, of course he's on steroids. Every guy's on steroids. Everybody believed he was on steroids. Okay, we don't need Sherlock Holmes to come here and tell us he's on steroids. I get that. That's fine. But how come so many? I heard he was like making he made over 100 million. Why are people buying his supplements? Do you think his supplements have anything to do with his physique? I'm not against supplements. I use supplements, natural supplements, obviously. But do you think that has anything to do with his physique? So there's a lot of naive people, like maybe not the people in the chat room. Because I would tell you, I would think 95% of you thought he was on steroids. But the fact that he made 100 million means that there's a lot of people who think it's his powders that do it. Okay, guys, I'm going to close this poll here. It's 70% think Khamzat won. 10% think Usman won. So the percentage of people who thought Usman won has dropped significantly. And now 21% believe it was a draw. What can I say, guys? I'm blown away. Coach, do you plan on making a strong and stable mind? You mentioned in the past podcast that you would do a deep dive in mental strength. Much respect. That's from Sparky Pal. Yes, sir, I will. But not just yet. That's going to be a distant project now. Hey, Coach, I started MMA recently. Thank you for your advice from the last live stream. I can only do BJJ, no gi, twice a week because that's the maximum amount in New Zealand gyms. How do I train more often? Are you saying you can only train twice a week, no gi, and you could train other days gi? That's the only no gi classes you have? Or can you only train no gi twice a week? And that's it. That's all the time you have. Maybe you have a job, etc. Look, I will tell you something. Develop a routine at home. Like if you buy a kettlebell, You can get in incredible shape just with a basic kettlebell. Guys, you can do it with body weight exercises. I'm a big believer in using a variety of tools. Okay, I use kettlebell, I use stretch bands. Stretch bands are inexpensive. You can do a whole work. Dude, you can become a world-class athlete just using stretch bands. Stretch bands, body weight, pull-up bar. That's all stuff you can have at home. Develop a conditioning routine at home. Of course, you're going to have to run. Running is paramount. You have to develop your cardiovascular conditioning. If you can't run, I suggest an Airdyne, assault bike. You got to pump that hard. You can't just build your muscle. You got to build that muscle in the chest, that heart is a muscle. That's a body part you got to train a lot. Okay, you got to have a strong cardiovascular system, strong muscles, great endurance in your muscles, strong neck. The whole body has to be super strong. I'm a big believer in a variety of training tools, but they're all very inexpensive. You can have very inexpensive. You could build a gym. If you can't make it to the gym more than twice a week, that's what I'm getting. At least get in great shape. And watch videos. Videos are abundant now. Watch a few videos. Study jiu-jitsu. Make a note. What do they call those? I'm forgetting what it's called. Hold on a second. I have it here. Mind maps. Get an app, a mind map. Just look it up. Mind map half guard, mind map side control, mind map your guard passing, mind map all your techniques. Really help you organize your thoughts. Even if you don't ever reread them, the fact that you wrote it down, you organized your thoughts, it makes things much more clear. Buy a mace, boys. That's from Baggy Sweater. Baggy Sweater, you could buy a mace. It's just really expensive. Better to buy just a sledgehammer, $20. What can I do with my impingement on my shoulder? That's from D15. I already answered that. Check out Strong and Stable Shoulders. It has all the answers for you. What's your supplement stack for growing muscle while lifting? While lifting. That's from Roberto. Well, I'll tell you something. The number one thing that allowed me to put more muscle on was red meat. And I used to kind of minimize my red meat portions because everybody says it's not healthy. All the books I read say it's not healthy. And then, I tried the carnivore. I tried to be more carnivore. I was never fully carnivore. Yeah, I got to tell you, I put on a lot more muscle with a lot less effort. I used to work hard for my muscle. I'm not a muscular guy. I don't get a lot of muscle quick because I do so much endurance. I'm always kickboxing, wrestling. So I lose muscle. Plus I'm older. I don't when I'm strict with my diet, I'll get lean fast, but I won't hypertrophy. I won't get really bulging, but I won't get super muscular. Like some guys, they get quite muscular quite fast. I'm a hard gainer. I'm medium, I would say. Medium to low side. So I would tell you the biggest difference, because I used to do a lot of supplements like whey protein and all that. I used to do a lot of it, and I find it was good, but it wasn't as good as eating more red meat. Ngannou gets steamrolled like everyone says. That's from Mags. He's fighting Tyson Fury, guys. He's going to lose. I don't think he wins that fight. And I'm a big Ngannou fan. I just don't think he wins that fight. If he wins, it will shock the boxing world. I'll come here and eat my words. I will eat my words. I just don't think he's going to last the 12 rounds. And I'm assuming it's 12 rounds. It's a world title fight. I don't think they would ever agree to anything else. He's going to get outboxed. He's going to get punished. He's not going to land his big shots. It's not going to happen. The distance is different. The ring is smaller than an octagon. The gloves are bigger. There's a lot more place to hide. And Fury's a much better boxer than anybody's ever seen. So all that's stacked against him. Plus the endurance. It's a different type of endurance. I don't want to get into a whole thing about it, but 5-minute rounds is not the same as 12 3-minute rounds. It's a totally different ball game. Yes, Ngannou can adapt. I'm sure he can, but he's going to get a pace put on him. It's a different type of pace. The guy's in your face. He's pushing you. He's shoving you. He's jabbing you. It's a different rate of punching. It's a whole different rate. And Fury's going to beat him. 35 years is the expiration date for champs under middleweight. Record 30 and 2. The two being Tyrone Woodley, who then lost like 5 in a row and gets slept by Jake Paul. This stat is clearly proven now and not coincidence. 35 years old is the expiration date. Well, you know what? The first thing you lose is speed, right? The first thing you lose is your reaction time, your speed. So I wouldn't say no. However, there have been champions past that age. It's rare, but you're right. It's rare. You're right. There's at 35 years old, the reflexes slow down. Guys are not as fast to react. You throw a punch, they don't move their head out of the way like they used to. So I would agree with you that it's not necessarily, you're not at the peak of your reflexes, no. But there are some fighters who have found ways around that. Mark. Khamzat submits Strickland within 3 rounds. Want to bet on it? LOL. Mark, I don't bet, but it's not impossible, man. You're not crazy. It's not impossible. Glover champ over 40. That's true. That is true. Again, a rarity. Not a typical thing. A rarity. When do you start declining in physical ability? That's from Amzi Official. That's actually a really good question. I would say, look, if you started training since you're 5 years old, okay, let's call it 7 years old, okay? I think in your mid-20s, you're going to peak, and at 30, you're going to start to dip. So 25 to 30, that's going to be your peak, man. You're going to be like on fire. 31, 32, you're going to start slowing down. 33, 34, 35, 36. It's not a pretty picture. That's how I see it. Statistically, Bisping is the only one-eyed champ. Yeah, I think he is the only one-eyed champ in MMA. Yes, coach, I can train both gi and no gi, but I'd like to train no gi more often so that I can become a better fighter. How do you suggest I go about this? That's from A. Donnie. Okay, A. Donnie, I see what you're saying. You can train more often, but the other days are gi. I suggest this. When I used to do gi, and I did gi for 10 years, I wouldn't grab onto the gi. I would do all my techniques. I would counter grip. I would break. I would try to avoid grabbing the gi. Jean-Jacques Manchado talked about this many years ago, okay? He won Abu Dhabi championship, I think 2 times in a row, maybe 3 even. I can't remember. And Jean-Jacques Manchado, he would train in the gi all the time, but he said he would sparingly use it. Now, he would use it, but he would use it sparingly. What did that mean? Why did he have that philosophy? Because he said to himself, if one day the guy's not wearing a gi, listen to his philosophy. What a brilliant grappler. One of the greatest, Jean-Jacques Manchado, one of the greatest grapplers in history. He's like, look, one day if I get into a fight or an altercation or the guy's not wearing a gi, my jiu-jitsu's still going to work. I'm not going to rely on the gi. Guess what? Abu Dhabi pops up. Nobody dreamt that Abu Dhabi would, like a major world tournament where the prince is putting up money, like 40K, and the prestige, and they fly to Abu Dhabi. The first Abu Dhabi's guys our heads were turning. We're like, wow, we can't believe this. Somebody's bringing all the best grapplers in one place in the world, and it's like the Olympics of grappling. It was so exciting. It was so exciting. Like the who's who was being invited to grapple. Different weight classes, super fight, the champion. It was such an exciting time. Of course, now tradition continues. And every 2 years there's an Abu Dhabi event and the elite of the elite get on the mat. And it's just so entertaining and fascinating, and history is being made every 2 years. When it first happened, Jean-Jacques Manchado was like, hey, I'll jump in. The guy does 99% of his training in the gi. He smoked everybody. Why? Because of his philosophies. He swept everybody with butterfly guard. He subbed the vast majority of his opponents. He's one of the greatest grapplers of all time. He's a very quiet and humble guy. You don't see him much online. But he's literally one of the greatest grapplers to ever step on the mat. And his philosophy was always, my technique has to work in every situation. That's why, I tell you guys, my Jiu-jitsu, I call it universal jiu-jitsu. I also think my jiu-jitsu has to work in gi, no gi, and MMA. That's why if you'll notice, I always say 80% of my techniques fulfill that criteria. The other 20% is just like pummeling, grappling, the in-between of how to get to a position that would be in a real fight. That's why I'm a big believer in being carefully selecting your jiu-jitsu style and or techniques, because there's 50 ways to play guard. Why play it one way that won't work in a no-gi situation when there's a perfectly other good way that will work in gi, no-gi, and MMA? Why would I choose this type of guard? Like, for instance, a deep half guard. You'll get punched in the face. Okay, well, let me use this other system. It's just as good, just as effective, but it also it'll translate better. That's why I'm a big believer in being very stingy on what exercises we do, what drills we do choose to train. It seems like heavier weight classes peak at a later age. That's from Dr. Anthony Fauci. You're right. I would say the heavier guys, they peak at a later age. Why? I'll tell you why. Because there's not a lot of them. The heavyweights, there's not a lot of heavyweights. So the thing is that most of them are not really good, and the few ones that are good, they dominate the division by heads and shoulders. Like, think about it. Cyril Gane started training, I think, like in his late 20s, and he's one of the best in the world. After 3-4 fights, they had him in the world, like the UFC. I mean, there's just not that much guys. There's not that many guys his size. Salam coach, I do Muay Thai, but I'm skinny. Should I focus on building muscle or just keep doing Muay Thai and let the muscle take care of itself? That's from World of something. No, I would tell you lift weights after practice. Do your Muay Thai routine, then do your abs, do your neck, do your shoulders, stretch band. Get into a fitness routine, build that muscle. Don't let that muscle waste away. Coach, do you think Bo Nickel beats Kamza? That's from Sieste. That's a good fight, man. That should be a main event. I mean, that's got to be a main event one day. 5 rounders, Bo Nickel, Shamaev. I have no idea what's going to happen in that fight. We don't know enough about Bo Nickel. We know he's a killer. We know he hits hard. We know he's got great wrestling. That's no doubt. I would love to see Bo Nickel do a 3-rounder so we could see the other layers of his game. What else does he have to show us? Abdikarim. Coach, I have extremely weak punches. Any tips? Yes. Any tips? Yes. Get a man's guide to throwing a punch. Okay, you're doing something wrong. Look, punching power has a lot to do with genetics, yes, but develop a good punching routine. And I would tell you, develop a good back kick. I don't care how weak your body is. A good back kick can knock out any man. So I'm a big believer in back kicking. And I teach it in, check out Professional Kicking. Volume 1 and 2. It's one of those volumes. I teach back kicking, how to get it right, how to do it right. And in my opinion, it's one of the best attacks there is in all of martial arts. When I used to spar, there was a time where I used to go really, really rough, and I used to floor every single sparring partner I've ever had with a back kick. Sooner or later, I caught them with a back kick and floored them. Obviously, after that, I would ease back, and I changed my training philosophies. I'll tell you guys that story another day. But I was focusing on not injuring my sparring partners ever. And my martial arts improved greatly, and my skills also improved greatly. Just a side note, like George, one time, St. Pierre, he took me to the side. He's like, listen, man, nobody will spar with you except me. And at the time, David Loiseau. He's like, you're too rough when you spar. You're hurting guys. But I was like, yeah, but that's what my trainer, I won't say his name now, but my other trainer, one of my old, that's what he tells me to do. He says, is when sparring is the same as a fight, you go as hard as you would in the fight. But if you hurt the guy, you floor him, you stop. That's it. You don't punch him on the way down. That's the way I was taught to spar at first. And George was like, yeah, but you shouldn't do that because then nobody wants to spar with you. He's like, try more like my way, and like just get at the guy's level here. Don't take him here. Like don't crush the guy. Just kind of keep it here and get a good sparring in, and they'll want to spar with you again. And he was so right. I traveled to Thailand. I work with the Thais, and that's how the Thais train. And I was actually quite grateful because the Thais could have hurt me really bad. If I tried to spar with them the way I sparred back home, they would have crushed me. At the time, they would have taught me a lesson, especially when they didn't know me. We didn't have a good relationship. You know, I think it's really, really smart. George St. Pierre's method was really, really smart. It changed my game. It changed my coaching style. It changed everything about me. Because when I was an amateur, I was very rough in sparring, super, super rough. Like that, but that was what I didn't know any better. That's the only way I knew how. That's how I was taught. Hey, we're gonna teach you how to box. Okay, well, this is what you're gonna do. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know, and then I realized, studying the Cubans, watching the Cuban boxers, how they win so consistently. They're very playful in their sparring. They are very playful. They're not rough. Then I realized, look at the Russian wrestling. Russian wrestling is very playful in the practice room. Not always, okay? They do build up to a high-intensity wrestling, but there's a lot of playfulness in the practice room. So I realized that, I was going about it the wrong way. And I can tell you that I got so much more practice. I had so many more sparring partners. I got so much better doing it George's way. Debate Bryce Mitchell on gravity versus gremlin lasso. Okay. Sure. Mr. Bryce Mitchell, big win recently. Coach, can you speak on visualization when fighting? That's from Tiger Shark. Guys, there's no secret to visualization. You all know how to do it, but I'm a big believer in it. Visualization is phenomenal. Coach, miss my super chat. That's from Emmanuel. Emmanuel, did I? Sorry, buddy. I just don't see it. Coach, I'm 33 and my speed, strength, and endurance feel way better than when I used to fight at 27. What do you think that is? That's from Alan. Oh, well, you peaked, right? You probably didn't train when you were really, really young, right? You probably started training in your adulthood and it took years for you to peak. But if you had started training younger, you probably would have peaked in way earlier, so you didn't reach your full potential. Starting early is really important. Bo is untested in the UFC. Yeah, he's a good wrestler, but they don't just wrestle in MMA. That's from Roberto Madrigal. Yeah, but I heard also he was a boxer. He boxed also, so he has boxing training. Best workout for obliques. Check out Strong and Stable Back. I go over that. It's too hard to explain, but check it out, okay? It's like use the stability ball. Core training is so important, guys. If you want to have a healthy back, core training is paramount. Coach, are you coming to UFC Shanghai? My friend and I want to meet you. That's from Chipotle Papi. Chipotle Papi. Yes, I'll be coming to UFC Shanghai, my friends. If you want to do a seminar, please contact me. If you guys want to do a seminar in Shanghai, I will be in Shanghai, my friends. $59 minutes, guys. We are in 59 minutes. Coach, thank you for your tips. I started doing MMA recently. What would you say are the most important things to progress as fast as possible in MMA? Look, basics. Stick to the basics. Don't do anything fancy. Don't get crazy with the fancy stuff. Get basics down. Basics of boxing, basics of Muay Thai, basics of wrestling. Check out Wrestling Made Simple. Check out my Advanced Basics series. You're going to love it. Check out A Man's Guide to Throwing a Punch. It's all the basics done well. Do the basics better than everybody else. Once you have that, then entertain the freaky, weird stuff. Because if you don't have a strong basics, guys, you will get passed by. You're going to train 5 years, and the guys who are trained 2 or 3 years are going to beat you. You're going to get run over. Trust me, the basics, the definition of the basics, the best definition I ever heard is by John Danaher, my trainer. He said, look, basics are maneuvers that are used from white belt all the way to black belt and at the highest level. That's what a basic move is. It's fundamental to each level of fighting. What does that mean? That means that's the stuff we really all use. We all use it. Why do we use it? Because it's the best. Yeah, there are stuff extra than that. You're right. There's a 20% out there. But if you don't have that 80%, you don't have nothing. The basics, guys. What can I tell you? Do the basics better than everybody else. And the rest is easy to learn. And you can improvise your way through it. If you have really, really good basics, you'll improvise. If you have a really good basic agility, understanding of the basic grips, man, you'll improvise all that other stuff. Prime Khabib versus Islam, who wins? That's from IQ VSHH. Khabib. Khabib wins. All right, guys. Give me something different. Guys, give me something new here. Enough about this craziness. Give me something new. Would you have ever been a competitive fighter? That's from Mags. Yes, I wanted to be a competitive fighter. However, there was no money in it. I remember when George St. Pierre did his first fight, he fought for $3,000 to show and $3,000 to win. I thought that was absurd. We trained for 4 months. He made $6,000. The whole training camp cost $6,000. I thought it was a ridiculous career path. Now, I loved fighting. I was training around the clock. I had the bug. But I wanted to become a lawyer because I couldn't live. I couldn't live off this money. Like, it was absurd. It was an absurd amount. Like, guys, when I was in the sport, people weren't making money. Only like 2 or 3 guys were making money, and it wasn't retirement money. The sport exploded. Live while I was a coach. Like, it exploded before my eyes, and nobody knew it. Nobody knew the sport was going to get this big. He made black belt in 4 years. Recommended no drills. That's from YTB99. Who's this that made black belt in 4 years? Recommends no drills. Who's this? It would have been great if you get some details. It would have been fantastic, YTB99, if you put some details in your comment. Which I honestly don't believe that. I don't believe anybody has ever reached black belt level in 4 years and didn't do drills. I absolutely don't believe that. I would love a reference. I would love to research that. But I 100% deny your claim. 100% deny it. It's never happened. To my knowledge, this has not happened. Ever. I'm clear to do disc replacement due to degenerative disc in neck. Any advice on recovery or training? I have a strong and stable neck. I have strong and stable neck. Well, that's all your answers right there. I just recently updated it. I put the crane. Personally, I wouldn't necessarily. I personally don't believe in doing surgeries because I'm not a doctor, but Stuart McGill. This is Stuart McGill's advice. I would recommend you reach out to Stuart McGill, send him an email, send him your MRI results. Stuart McGill, reach out to him, write him an email. He'll write you back. I'm very certain he'll write you back. Tell him exactly about your situation. What does he think? He's going to recommend you do physio. He's going to recommend you do everything in strong and stable neck. It takes time. How long has your pain been going on? Well, look, there are some circumstances I think you should get surgery. Talk to Stuart McGill. Send him your MRI results. See what he tells you. He has a tremendous amount of experience with this. But surgeons always want to cut. That's how they make money. For them, they see something broken, put this guy on the table. That's how I get money. He gets paid through your insurance. Whatever which way, he gets paid. He wants to do as many surgeries as he can, and he wants to put as much money in his bank account as he can. I personally have herniated disc in my thoracic spine, and I have not done surgery. And I'm 100% pain-free. My strength is not, my right arm is not 100% back, but I'm 100% pain-free. Hi, Coach. How would I build muscle with only one kettlebell and bodyweight exercise at home? I have rings as well. How do I progressive overload? That's not easy. You're going to have to go like close to failure. If you're using only kettlebell, now you're working endurance. That's not the best way to build. I will tell you 2 major things, okay? One, make sure you include squats in your workout. Always squats, jumping squats, because if your kettlebell is not that heavy, if you don't have 2 kettlebells, if you have 2 kettlebells, you can really put on muscle. I recommend having 2 kettlebells, add squat, develop your squat, front squat with your kettlebell, squat to press, 2 compound movements, go high rep. And of course, the second thing is high protein diet. High protein diet, you'll get hypertrophy for sure. Try to double up on your kettlebell work. Like use exercise with 2 kettlebells. You're gonna recruit more muscles. Put somebody in a timeout. Boom. Is only nose breathing during a fight a good idea since mouth breathing is bad? That's from Amzi Official. No, I don't think mouth breathing is bad. Sometimes you need more oxygen. Of course, if your mouth is open and you get punched in the jaw, it's not good. Okay, I'm not saying it's the best way to get hit. However, I've never seen a single fighter who keeps his mouth closed during intense scrambling. When the fight gets tough, we all open our mouths to let in more air. We need more air. We're creating oxygen debt. The sport is very taxing on the body, and that oxygen is a priority. Is minoring in philosophy what got you into philosophy? No, I didn't minor. I majored in philosophy. That's Alex Leo. Look, I just took one class in college. Then when I went to university, I really liked philosophy, so I majored in it. Okay, so I just really liked it. I took a few classes. I was exposed to philosophy before that, before my college classes. I had read philosophy books. My older brother had philosophy books lying around. I used to read them. I was very interested in them. I was just naturally drawn to them. And then when I went to college, I took as many philosophy classes as I liked. That's what I loved. Because I loved that I did it. I read the books. I was interested. And I used to get really, really good grades. And I was just into it, man. So I didn't have a backup plan. I thought, okay, if I go into law later, philosophy will help me because I can argue, I can analyze. So obviously we all got to pay the bills. We all got to make money somehow. So that was my plan. But I really had a passion for philosophy. I still do it. I still study philosophy literally every single day. Assalamu alaikum, coach. Isn't correct sleeping habit imperative for sport? Why are you not on the bed yet? Salam from Azerbaijan. Wa alaikum salam, Arkan. Thank you for that. And you're right. I should be going to bed very, very soon. It is nearing my bedtime. Coach, what do you think about playing Kazakatami from bottom? I am a real nice sweep from there. I hit it on higher belts as well. That's from Mighty Galaskis. I know exactly which sweep you're talking about. I do it myself. I love it. Guys, Kazakatami is an arm triangle. You know, when you have the head and arm. It's a fantastic grip. And it's amazing for sweeping. I know exactly what you're talking about. I absolutely love it. I do it myself. And it's absolutely a killer maneuver. Mo Gardner, which training and diet regimen should I use? New to gym, want to gain muscle, 25 years old, 23 body mass index. Secondly, where should I go to learn the gym basics? Guys, you got to just check out Strong and Stable Back. I teach you how to lift. I teach you core movements, how to stable your back, how to stabilize your shoulder, how to stabilize your neck. Then after that, you can do any exercise. Any exercise. I show you lots of exercises you can do. But if you want to build muscle, guys, you got to deadlift, you got to squat, you got to bench. These are the 3 most important exercises. And one of the 3 is more important than the other 2. Which one is that? The squat. Why the squat? It has the most eccentric load. Guys, if you want to gain size, you have to squat. Now, to squat, you have to know how to squat. I recommend you guys learn how to neutralize your back, your shoulders, and your neck. That way you could squat your entire life and you'll never hurt yourself. Squat will lead to bigger muscles. They've done studies on one group doing squats and bicep curls and the other group just doing bicep curls and tricep extensions. Guess which group had bigger biceps? The group that did back squats and bicep curls. Why? They said that doing squats recruits the most amount of muscles and therefore produces the most amount of testosterone. So I highly recommend for hypertrophy, you include compound movements such as squat, deadlift, bench, and Squat is the most important. The other exercise I will tell you that's massively important is sprinting. Short sprints. 100-meter sprints. 50-meter sprints. That's it. With long breaks in between. Don't do endurance running if you want to gain mass. Run 100 meters, take a 2-minute break. Run 100 meters, take a 2-minute break. Run 100 meters. Do it 5 to 10 times. You're going to stimulate growth hormone in your system. Guys, running at the fastest rate possible is very good for growth hormone, natural growth hormone. Coach, do you give GSP shit for his hair gel? Tiger Shark Diver. No, I don't give a shit. I don't care what he does with his hair. What are your thoughts on dopamine detox? What's dopamine detox? Let's look that up. That sounds interesting. Process of a dopamine detox involves fasting from activities or pleasure that produce dopamine so that the drive for quick rewards decreases. Some people may do a basic dopamine detox which lasts for a few hours or days, while others may go through a more extreme process that lasts for months. Okay, so you basically deprive yourself of things you love, and then once you indulge in those things again, you'll have a rejuvenation. You'll feel the taste of food once again. Guys, we do that every year. I do that every year. It's called Ramadan. We do it every single year. No food, no water, sunrise to sunset, and recommended you don't touch your own wife. Okay, you don't touch the wife even. Okay, I can't say it's easy to do, but it's not mandatory, but recommended. That's a tough month, guys, and it's true. After Ramadan is over, you feel rejuvenated. You feel reborn. Guys, I appreciate this water I'm drinking right now. Oh, you have no idea how much I appreciate this. I know Ramadan's like 6 months away or something. I gotta enjoy this water. And I'll tell you something. What I love about Ramadan is we all do it together. The whole Muslim community does it together. It's so much fun. You know, it's so like encouraging. We're doing it all together. That's such a beautiful thing. Honestly, it is. Now, doing it by yourself, I think, is tough. Very tough. Like, I've been, sometimes traveling. I'm the only one doing it. Like, it's tough. But doing it as a community, it's a very beautiful thing. How to increase my intelligence? That's from Amzi Official. That's a good question. I will tell you something. Read. Read about different topics, people's different ideas. Think about it. You can read somebody's ideas from 1,000 years ago. They wrote them down. You could share ideas with other people. Then you connect different ideas. So imagine you read 100 books. You'd be smarter. You'd be more creative. You'd have thousands of ideas in your head that weren't there before. And sooner or later, those ideas will connect in ways you could never imagine. I highly, highly recommend you read. Okay, guys, super chats are pouring in as usual. Nope, did it. Okay, guys, I'm going to do some non-super chats here. Do you think kickboxing will ever be as big as MMA and boxing? That's from Osama. No, I highly doubt it. Honestly, highly, highly doubt it. Hey, Coach, in one of your previous pods, you mentioned seeing a lot of violence in your life. I, too, am from Montreal. Where and how did you see the violence? God bless. That's from Denzel. Denzel, my gym, man. I'm not talking about, like, violence in the street. MMA, wow. You know how many fights I've cornered in my life? Hundreds, countless fights. And fights in the gym, man. Like fights like sparring. That's, in my opinion, that's, we're kicking each other, we're kneeing each other. It's violence, man. It's just, my whole life is violence. Two guys getting in the ring, kicking each other, punching each other, throwing each other on the ground. What do you think that is? You know, St. Pierre was inducted in the Hall of Fame recently, Canadian Hall of Fame. I got to post a picture about it soon. And me and him were there, and they brought him up on stage, and they inducted him, and they asked him some questions. And I remember him at one point, he's like, look, you play hockey, you play basketball, but you don't play MMA. You know, when I was going in there, for me, my life was on the line. Because they were asking him about him, you know, his philosophies and training methods. And it's so true, man. You don't play MMA. MMA is violence, brother. It's violence, man. We're hitting each other in the head. We're trying to choke each other. It's not malicious, but it's still a violent sport. I think it was Rogan who said, it's the ballet it's the ballet of violence. So true. TV more educational than books. That's from Daniel Quinn. I guess it could be like with today's documentaries, YouTube videos. You can get a lot of learning done on YouTube. Absolutely. Recommend living in Montreal? ? From Windsor. That's from Max. Yes, absolutely. Montreal's the place to be. It's a beautiful place. We have our problems, but we're less saturated than Toronto and Vancouver. But we're getting there. But other than that, it's really beautiful. Okay, guys, we are 1 minute 15 deep, and I'm gonna do one to three more. Let's end it on a fun, positive note. All right, guys. Do you play chess? That's from Alex Leal. I love to play chess. Let me talk to you guys about chess. It's such a fascinating game. I love quotes from old chess masters. Absolutely love it. I watched documentaries on chess. I love chess. Am I good at chess? No, I suck at chess. Okay, I suck at chess. But do I love the game? I absolutely adore the game. I play with my wife once in a while. And guys, come on. I crush her. I hope she's not listening to this, but I crush her. And sometimes I'll let her win. And sometimes she actually beats me. Guys, I'll tell you something. Sometimes she actually beats me. Like I just screwed up and she beat me. Now, she's actually not bad. She's actually not bad at all. However, when she beats me, she's elated. Like, you don't understand how happy she'll take a picture of the board. She's like, I could see her on cloud nine. She's so this is like a monumental, like, she's so happy. You can't believe it. Me, when I beat her, it's like, whatever. I beat her, you know, like, what can I say? I beat her. But a lot of times, too, I'll let her win. Or I'll let her take a move back. Or, you know, like, I'll give her something. Like, it's just, I'm trying to be nice, you know, but when she beats me sometimes, man, it's just so funny to see how happy she is. It's insane. Salam, coach, how do you stay motivated and disciplined? Every few months, I have lapse in discipline and fall into an old habit. That's from Amjal Khan. Guys, no matter what, I never break my routine. Let's say I'm injured. I can't train today. I'm still going to go to the gym. Why? I can't break my routine. Guys, become a creature of habit. I watched George St. Pierre for so many years. That guy is such a creature of habit. It's insane. He doesn't want any bad habits. Oh, what about we make this exception? Okay, one time, but we're not doing it twice. Okay, fine, champ. One time. Okay, we'll have it. But he's not going to let it become a habit. He lives his life by habits. Even when he eats in a place, like he'll eat that place all the time. Why? Because he knows the owners now. They're not gonna ask for pictures the 8th time. It's not gonna turn into like a photo shoot. He doesn't have to break that place in. You know, he's already been there. But also, he's gonna eat these nutrients, and like he's such a creature of habit. It's insane. He has a routine. When he wakes up in the morning, you know what he's doing. Afternoon, you know what he's doing. Late night, like he has a routine. And John Denhart is identical. Successful people, they're not necessarily always the smartest. They're not necessarily always the most creative, even though these individuals I'm talking about are incredibly smart and creative. But they see that this habit will lead me there. That's where I want to go. And that's it, man. They're not breaking that habit for anything. So like me, I want to be, listen, my goal is to be the greatest martial arts trainer in history ever. That's what I want to be. I want to know more about martial arts than anybody on the face of the earth. I know that to do that, I have to get in the gym every day. I have to watch fights. I have to analyze fights. I have to break things down. I have to think about fighting all the time. And that's what I do. Do I ever break my habits? No. When I have to travel, I'm watching fights. I download things that I need to watch and study, and I'm on it all the time. Will I break that habit? No. If I have to go to the gym, it's time to go to the gym. Oh, but I can't. Let's say I have staff. Doesn't matter. I go and I sit and I watch practice. Why? I'm not breaking that habit, and I'm going to get something out of just watching practice. The most serious athletes, the most serious individuals, that's how they become successful. They never take their eye off the goal. Imagine you had that. Think about it. I don't care what your goal is. Maybe you don't want to be a jiu-jitsu black belt. Whatever it is you want to do. Ask yourself, what did I do today? Is that conducive to my goal? If the answer is no, how dare you even think you're gonna achieve that goal? How dare you even think it? I mean, if let's say you want to be a doctor, did you wake up in the morning and crack the books on your way to school where you're listening to like a lecture on biology? Like, are you living the life of somebody who's gonna become a master of medicine? If your answer is no, forget medicine. Give up. Like, you got to live the life, guys. You got to live the life for whatever you want to be. Whatever you want to be, you got to live the life. You want to be a real estate broker? Well, you better read books on selling. You better be in the business. Did you wake up in the morning, check all the listings? Do you know what everybody's selling, at what price? Like, do you know everything about the industry? I don't know much about real estate, but I'm just saying, like, if I wanted to be in real estate, I would know everything. My whole day would be built around real estate. I'm just trying to diversify the objectives here because we're always talking about martial arts. Guys, it could be anything. Ask yourself, what does my routine look like? If it doesn't look like the guy I want to be, if the guy I want to be is a doctor, the best doctor, let's say I want to be the best doctor ever. Am I living the life of a guy who wants to be the best doctor ever? If the answer is no, how dare you? How dare you live this way? Or how dare you dream this dream? If you're going to dare the dream, you better dare to live the way that achieves that dream. What's the point of having the dream? It's just torture. It's just torture. You're torturing yourself. Either give up the dream or give up the lifestyle you're living and live the lifestyle that brings you to that dream. How dare you have a dream and not the lifestyle? How dare you? How dare you? What torture? Why would a human being do this to himself? Why? I'd rather tell myself, I don't want to be a doctor. You know what I want to do? I want to be a guy who sits on the couch and watches TV. You know, one day, I can't remember one time I didn't go to practice. I can't remember why. One time, like, guys, I'm not saying I never miss a practice. It's just rare. And I was sitting on the couch with my wife and we're watching TV and I was like, what? Is this what people do? And she's like, yeah, they just relax and they watch TV. Like, I don't like to watch TV. Like, I like to watch TV on the weekend when I spend time with my wife. Okay, we'll watch a show, relax. I'll give the MMA a break. I'm spending time with the wife here. Like I always say, it's cheaper to keep her. You don't want to get divorced and lose half your income or whatnot. And I say that jokingly, of course. You know, I have a social life. I have a family life. I make time for the family. Okay, I'm going to put pause on the whole career thing. I'm going to spend time with the family. But now this is happening during my scheduled training time. And it was like, I can't remember why. Why on earth would I miss practice? I don't know. It must have been a crazy reason. It must have been the craziest reason. I couldn't go for some reason. I know what it was. I had flown in like at 4 p.m. Practice is at 6 p.m. So by the time I got home, it was already practice at start. Like, and I was jet lagged and I was not making the practice. So I was sitting at home watching TV with her and I'm like trying to picture my life coming home 9 to 5, sitting on the couch, watching TV with my wife every day. I got to tell you, man, it was pretty hard to imagine. Like, I really can't think of myself like that. Because don't get me wrong, I love spending time with my wife, but how much TV can I watch? How much sitting around can I do before I go mad? I like my routine. I like training, the excitement. We have a fight, we have competition. Like, this is a lot of adventure in your life. You know, there's a lot of adventure there. And I think a lot of people should. I think a lot of people love it. I mean, like, not necessarily MMA, but sports. And obviously, a lot of people love it. Obviously, everybody loves sports, but I think there's also a lot of people who don't know they would love it, is what I'm trying to say. They don't know because they're sitting on the couch chilling, watching TV, and they think that's what it's about. But they don't have enough adventure in their life. You know, one psychologist said it best. And I'm going to end on this. Okay, so no more super chats, please. He said, look, life is like a river. This is a really good book. I'm trying to remember the name of the book now. It's a psychology book. He said, look, life is like a river. Okay. He goes, And you have a river has two shores. It has a shore on the right side. It has a shore on the left side of the river. One side of the shore is your stability in your life. You have a job, you have a wife, you have kids, you're responsible. You have a business, you have employees, you are an employee, you got responsibilities. And then on the other side is chaos or adventure. You know, you might go away for the weekend. You might do an amateur kickboxing fight. You might play, I don't know, a soccer league. That's your adventure. Now, he says the river in between is mixing the two shores. You're getting a mix of the two. He goes, with his clients, he tries to introduce more adventure. And some people, he tries to introduce more stability. And he says, the first thing I do when they come into my office, I analyze immediately whether they have too much stability or too much adventure. Some people, they don't have a wife or kids. They're out and about living in a different city. Then they change and they get in a romance here. They break up. They have a kid here. They're divorced. They're living in this place now. They were working over here and now they're gone. Their whole life is chaos/adventure. That's an extreme example. Okay. He's doing kickboxing for 6 months. He has his first fight right away. Like, not even 6 months, it's 3 months, and he's fighting. And then, okay, now he wants to be a rock climber. And then he's always constantly changing the channel on his life. He's always he's never consistent. He's never being responsible. He's never building anything. He's just dabbling in everything else. And it's just, his life is chaos. One day he wakes up, I'm going to be a lawyer. And the next day he gives up and now I'm going to be, I don't know, an electrician. And then tomorrow, no, I'm going to be this and that. I know people like this. I have actually somebody quite close to me who was exactly like this. I just described them to a T. Always chaos, always adventure. Now, the psychologist was saying an individual like that, I give him tools to develop habits of stability. Because this doctor what he was trying to say is, I don't want you to be too stable. I don't want you to be too chaotic. I want you to find the right mix. The river is going to mix in the two sides slowly over time. And he says, look, some people are so rigid. The opposite. They eat X amount of calories. I'll tell you something. GSP is super rigid with his routine. It's insane. But he has a lot of adventure in his life. He competes. So he has a beautiful mix of the two. Okay, I'll tell you something. I admire George for his discipline. The way he has a ritual. Every day he goes through his rituals. It's insane. And I find that I learned so much about success from just copying that one thing. Develop a routine, stick to it. In the long run, you're going to get to your goal. So anyways, if you're too stable, you need some adventure. You work 9 to 5, you come home, you have dinner, you sit on the couch, you watch TV. He says you're going to become depressed. If your life is too stable and there's no chaos/adventure, he also thinks you're going to be depressed. I had a flash about the name of the book. It escapes me. Damn it. Very famous professor wrote this book. Very famous professor. Right now his name escapes me. I haven't read it in years. I will try to look it up and hopefully next podcast I will have the name for you guys. Guys, I want to thank you all for tuning in. Please like, share, and comment, friends. And I'll see you all in the next episode. Thank you.